Good morning. This is Dr. Bill White again, and I'm with the American Orthodontic Society, and I want to talk this morning some about extracting and not extracting teeth. We've argued over this for years, and it is ridiculous because people in the United States and other parts of the world now are actually mixed races of people, and you'll get somebody on one side of the family that's got a big broad face and they'll have large teeth, and then somebody else on the other side of the family may have a narrow face, and you may get the tooth from the large person and trying to put it into the bone structure of the smaller narrow faced person. And this just does not work, and you have to reduce the teeth in size, and you can fit them into the mouth and he'll have the face look good. Now if you want to, you can expand anybody's face and put their teeth, but they'll look all protrusive out. And so I don't tell people I recommend extraction. I'm saying, how do you want your face to look? And if you want it really full out here, then we can expand your jaws and put the teeth in there. But that's not the way. At one time, there was such a movement to never extract any teeth. They just said that we're not going to take any teeth out, and it is evil to do it or something. And I got this young lady, and I knew she really needed to have some teeth removed because she had the teeth from a large portion, or somebody in the family with a large teeth, and she did not have facial room. So I put her teeth in there, and then I had the parents and the dentist that referred it come look at her, and I said, you don't want this, I don't think. And they said, oh God, no. They didn't like that. So we came back and took the teeth out and brought the face back in to make the face more beautiful. And that's the way it should go. Now, when I was growing up, my uncle was taught orthodontics at Emory in Atlanta, and he was a labiolingual orthodontist. And my stepmother, where I was living in West Texas, was working for an orthodontist, and he was a labiolingual guy. Now, labiolingual people just push the teeth around like this. They don't have any ability to deal with a tooth. If you took the tooth out, they couldn't close a space and parallel the roots to save their life. So they took on this holier-than-thou attitude that God had given you all 32 of these teeth, and you're going to have to keep them. But they took out the wisdom teeth. They allowed to back them up. So it is not the best thing to do to try to keep the teeth. Now, I'm going to go through a video that I have here of some pictures of my granddaughter, who in myself, I felt like I just don't want to take any of her bicuspids out. But it was a mistake. I should have taken the bicuspid, maybe the second bi if you need it, and straightened the teeth up in half or a quarter of the time. I had to work on her for 6 years to get these teeth in there right. And just the other day, I was having my teeth cleaned, and the hygienist told me that she had been in braces for 10 years. And she explained to me one of her parents was an American Indian with a real broad face. The other one was German, had a narrow face, and her teeth didn't fit. in there. So they worked and pushed everything back, and then I asked her if she had the wisdom teeth removed, and said yes, they had to take the wisdom teeth out. All right, this happened to me too. I made a mistake in doing this deal. Now I'm going to get in here, and we'll show this in a person. Okay, this is my granddaughter, and I was determined not to take any teeth out on her. And her facial structure is good, and the profile's good and everything, but she has large teeth. And like on the hygienist lady, I asked her if her mother and father had different sized faces, and she said yes, her mother's face was real broad. And I said to her, do you have skin like your mother's skin? She said absolutely, looks very similar. So the ectodermal layer that forms the skin also forms the teeth. So if the person having the big teeth from one side of the family will also have the same skin that person has in the family. So that's one way you can tell about it. Now let's go ahead. This thing will run on too long if I just keep talking about it. But I want to show you. Now, this is my granddaughter, and she has a large central. I mean, both of them are big. The laterals are big in here. And here's the permanent lateral coming in over here. And there's absolutely no room if we reduce the deciduous teeth down. Putting these big teeth in the mouth is going to be a real chore. And it took me 6 years to treat this case. And that's not necessary. I should have gone back and taken out a second bi if I was afraid about dropping the profile back too much. Take the second bicuspid and the posterior teeth will come forward, and you use the extra space then to put the big teeth in there. And I'm going to go ahead and show that. Now, here she smiled, and those 4 teeth up there in the front fill up the gap, and there's just not room for the others. Now, we did our reduction of the teeth, trying to bring them in. In other words, these teeth, I want to put them in that area. There's not anywhere close to getting the big cuspid in here. So we trimmed the other teeth to bring them in, but we still had problem bringing them in. I had to come in and put a palatal separator in and spread the palate out, in order to get the teeth in the mouth. I'll show you that later on. So here we trim this deciduous tooth, and it's over to one side. You see the sun coming here, these teeth move to that side. This cuspid started in, and when this happens, you have to get this one out, and you take these out, and you've got to put a cuspid and a bicuspid in here, but you can take the mesial part of the deciduous second molar off and do a pulpotomy on that back in here and get the teeth in on some of these cases. You can go look on this video on reducing the size of the teeth or guiding eruption into the mouth, and it'll help you understand what we were doing there. Now let's go to another view. Now I took, on my granddaughter, I took about 13 or 14 Panorexes while we were doing this. And I'm going to try to, and I could have just extracted a tooth and it would come in the mouth very easily. And I've got some cases I'll show you where we extracted a bicuspid and we saved the wisdom tooth. Well, I couldn't tell she was going to have wisdom teeth, and so I didn't know. I was kind of gambling with that. All right, so here the cuspid is trying to get in here, and we're trying to put that cuspid, get the cuspid in here, and this bicuspid coming down in the place too. So there's just not room for them to come in. So I had to enlarge the mouth structure to get it in. Now this was in, her age was between 8 and 7, right here. Now here's this big cuspid coming down in this direction, and this is a permanent lateral, and its crown of this cuspid is running into the developing root of that lateral, and it can have some effect on that. In fact, we damaged the root of the lateral, the upper laterals to some extent, but not bad. All right, here it is, another number 3 panorex, and you see how this lateral looks like it's had some resorption of the root, and this one looks the same way in there. I'm not sure how much of that really is absorption, but we're trying to get those teeth in, but there's no room there. You got this, yeah, now a trick you can do, you can bunch the roots of these teeth together, put some tilt in the crown down here, and it'll run the root over this way and this way, and you have room for it to come in. We've got a little competition out here with the dogs. All right, let's watch it again now. This is 7 of 94, and here it is, I don't know, some time and everything. She's 10 years old here, I think, coming in, and the cuspids are still really crowded, and the laterals have some resorption of the roots. And let's go to the next panorex. That's number 4, and this is number 5. And now she's 10 years old, 10 and a half, and I decided the only way to make some space is that I put in a palatal separator and spread this out and push back on this and push forward on this, and now I'm planning to taper these roots in this direction, and we did some of that, and we finally got the cuspids in there, but I had to really work. And now this has taken me 6 years to do this case, and I should have done it in about 2.5 if I'd have just waited. Now, at this point, you can see a wisdom tooth forming back here. That's upside, it's headed in that direction. Here's one up here, here's one over here, and here's one here. Now, we know we've got wisdom teeth to fill the space if I took out a bicuspid. Now you can go in early and take out, you can take the first bi, but that will reduce the profile some. So sometimes we go in and take the second bis out early on the case, and we move these teeth up a little bit and move these back to take up the space. And now we have room. A lot of times I've got cases that we sacrificed a bicuspid and we kept the wisdom teeth back in the back. Now this is getting into complicated orthodontics that people run into. But this idea of not taking any teeth out is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. There's some people, and they even the labiolingual people, they didn't consider the wisdom tooth as a tooth. Actually, the wisdom tooth ends up in the best chewing position of any tooth in the whole mouth, and it is right underneath the muscle, you see, to close the space. Now let's get on here with another view. Now this is, she's age 11, and I'm still messing around with this and trying to get those cuspids off the lateral root. And now this is, she's 10, this is 1995, and this cuspid is completely over this lateral right here, and I'm afraid it has damaged the root of the laterals slightly, but we've still got it. So now we have to go in and put the roots together to put this tooth down. But I have widened this out and made space enough for this tooth to come through, but I'm taking years of time doing that. Now here we are, this is number 8, Panorex, this is 95, and we finally got the cuspids off the root over here, but you see this follicle around the cuspid is big follicle to get it going. So I need to get with it. But if you look careful at this, you see the arch wires going like this, going there, going here, going here, here, and here. Now, that tends to put this root like that, to run the root together, get it out of the way, and we've moved it a long way because these crowns were over the whole tip of the tooth there to start with. Now this is tough orthodontics to do this, and it's so much simpler if you just remove one of these teeth. I'm going to go back and show you. Now this is number 9. We got the cuspid coming down, and the cuspid is already mature up here. It's supposed to erupt as the root forms, and this root is up here in the sinus, and to get it down in place, it took me 6 years, I think, to actually treat this case. All right, here we got the tooth coming in right. We got this big follicle around that cuspid. This one over here, you see the root looks as resorbed part of the way, and this follicle is way big like that. And finally we force this thing and get it down in this gap. And we'll take this out, and we've got a little extra space in there to get the teeth in. Now, here, this is 1997, and we're still in there, see? And I've got the teeth, the cuspids headed down, but you see the root of that tooth and the root of this tooth have some resorption on those two roots as I get them into the mouth there. Now here they're coming on down, and now it's age 14, it's 1990, looks like 98, and the teeth are there. And now her wisdom teeth have formed, and there's no way that you're going to be able to get this tooth in the mouth. And she is a girl, and she's 14 years old, and the growth in young ladies is usually stops around 14 or 13 and a half or 14 years of age. So she's not going to grow any more than she is. So there's no way for this at all. Now, if we had gone in and removed this, and this had moved in forward, we might still have to remove the tooth, but if we move these teeth up to something like this and get this, if the bone was back in here, you could upright that tooth, which we've done in many cases where we extract the bicuspid. We can come in and save the wisdom teeth. But this one, I doubt seriously if you would be able to save it, even if it did. So you end up extracting 8 teeth rather than 4. All right, here is the case, and that's number 14, and she's 14 years and 8 months old, and we finally got the teeth in there with just a little breakdown of the root structure, and now you have to get these teeth out or they're going to screw the whole thing up. This tooth coming in like that will crowd that whole line of teeth up in there. So, and there is the bend that we put in the wire. See, we went up like this, and that made the root go this way, whereas if the wire was this straight across here, the root would go like that. So we moved it over, but it still was difficult to get the thing lined up properly. And there's the pushing the teeth over in that space and making room for the wisdom teeth. It was very difficult to do that. And I think that's the end. Now I'm going to go back over here and show you the first thing when we started off on this case. And I have done this on many cases. Say this is the first, I can't tell for sure. On this one it's not crowded up, but if they came in like this, and this cuspid is coming over here, this one's coming here. If you take this tooth out right here, then you need to take this one out on the bottom, and this cuspid will move back, this one will move back, this cuspid will move right over into that space. And that's a much better way to treat these cases that have these large teeth on one side of the family and a small bone structure on the other side of the family. And the person who has that, if you see the large tooth belongs to the father, then this person will have the skin of the father as well as the father's large teeth. So I'm going to close up, but there's a heck of a lot to learn in this. And one thing is that these people who say never take out teeth, and then they back the teeth up and take out the wisdom teeth and spend a lot of time doing that when they could sacrifice something in here. And we have done many cases where we were able to keep the wisdom teeth and get the cuspid to come off on its own. And you can go back and check them. Many of these videos I have. We sacrifice the bicuspid, but we save the wisdom tooth. So I'm going to close up, and that will stir up a lot of controversy, but it is ridiculous to think that you should never take out any teeth. Why push all this back and then take out the wisdom teeth? And that's a tough job to do. Why not make a little space in here, solve the crowded problem up here, and usually these will move forward and take up what's left, and frequently you have room to get the wisdom teeth, but if you didn't, you'd have to get the wisdom tooth out anyway. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I hope you get something from this. But I hope you understand that I'm not a extraction, just jumping on and taking everybody's teeth out. That's ridiculous too. But extraction of teeth is a necessary thing in many, many orthodontic cases. And so I'm gonna, if you just put them off, and these people that never say, oh, I never take teeth out, they take out wisdom teeth right and left and act like it's not even a tooth. Where we can save the wisdom tooth and sacrifice a bicuspid, you end up with more tooth structure. So I'm going to say goodbye, and I will hope that you let this help you in making decisions on that. So I'm going to stop. Thank you now for watching.